Here we go.
We're approaching the dawn of America's golden age. It's going to be a golden age for America. We have things that nobody else has. We have more natural resources. We have, number one, nobody knew that until I came along. I made us number one. We're number three. I made us number one in a very short period of time in drilling. And you know, you can talk about windmills. They litter our country. They're littered all over our country, like dropping paper, like dropping garbage in a field. And that's what happens to them, because in a period of time, they turn to garbage. Most expensive energy ever. They only work if you get subsidy. The only people that want them are the people that are getting rich off windmills, getting massive subsidies from the U.S. government. And it's the most expensive energy there is. It's many, many times more expensive than clean natural gas. So we're going to try and have a policy where no windmills are being built. You know, off the coast of New Jersey, they want to build like 200 windmills. The people are going crazy. Nobody wants them, and they're very expensive. They don't work without subsidy. You don't want energy that needs subsidy. Energy is a good business. You don't need subsidy. But when you build these massive towers, and they're 25 stories tall, 40 stories. They have 170 stories tall. The blades, they take 3 ships to ship them. It's crazy. They're dangerous. You see what's happening up in the Massachusetts area with the whales, where they had 2 whales wash ashore in, I think, a 17-year period. And now they had 14 this season.
Whew. Golden Age, baby. Golden Age is coming. I forgot he kind of drones off in that clip a little bit. What is up, everybody? How we doing tonight? It's good to see you all. We got some fun stuff to talk about tonight. Wow. I don't know if you guys saw that press conference, but if you didn't, make the time to watch the whole thing. It is fantastic. Trump at his best, fielding questions for an hour, and oh, Canada. It's looking very interesting on the whole Canada 51st state thing. I was joking the other night, and I was actually mostly serious. I didn't think he was serious about this, but after hearing him today, and I'm going to play the clip on how he breaks down Canada and the why he's actually thinking about this, it made me think, like, who knows? Because he makes some incredible points. Anyways, it's never a dull moment now with Trump back, and I cannot wait. We got 12 days now that today is pretty much over. 12 days, guys. I'm so freaking amped. Things are going to get awesome. And then we're going to cover what else, a couple of the other things he covered in this press conference. And I'm going to talk about at the end, I'm going to talk about some of the economic indicators and news coming out, because it's not looking good. It's not looking pretty, but thank God we got a real leader coming back. But first, let's say hey to everybody. What's going on? Steve Bernard, numero uno. Hobbs coming in second. Big B, what's up? Big B3. You'll watch Canadian Bacon and Strange Brew tomorrow. I love it. Strange Brew, much superior to Canadian Bacon, but still good movies. Fro Girl, Butters is what's up. Butters, that's me. Cass Sink. Ryan, Canada is basically a part of America anyways. Oh, it would make a big difference against BRICS, but that's funny. Mark R, put Trump on their currency. I love that. Just Mike, what's up? Agent Orange, sup? Stella Artois, good to see you, friend. Cindy Lou, how you doing? Shogun, I got a swimming pool. The one, what it do? Phil Haynes, DJ T, Arnolfo, So Now, what's up? Joe Scarpazza, Queefer, what's up? Kim Wiley, Darren Collins, Charlie M, get that syrup down. Birdie Bug, Old Man, Troy Man, Patrice, you going to the inauguration? Holy smokes, I'm very jealous. I'm very jealous. Phil Zill, Randy Albert, Just My Greenland. Oh, I get that too. Ryan Edberg, it's past my bedtime. I don't sleep. How do I sleep? I do this show. I don't sleep. Why is it not green? Mike Mishler, Marco Sanchez, Randy Albert, Queefer, and Donna. Good to see you. Good evening. Good night. On the East Coast, good late night. Winged Wolf, what's going on? Hotel room in Singapore. Dang. What time is it in Singapore? All right. Let's get right to it. I'm going to play a couple minutes of this clip here from the press conference because he goes into some detail. And if you missed it, I really want you to hear this. And then we're going to talk about it because, I mean, like I said, he was on it today. That Golden Age clip I played, I believe a Golden Age is coming. I've talked to you guys about that. He keeps saying it. And with the win we've had, all the stuff going on, there's no reason for me to think it just won't happen. And then on top of 12:17 in the afternoon, dang. Anyways, he breaks down this thing that sounds so funny, the Canada becoming a 51st state, but now it's looking anyways, I want you guys to watch this. Wicked. Yeah, real quick. Southern California is burning pretty bad right now. And as a California native who lived there for most of my first 30 years of life, those fires are scary. And California is crazy as mostly good people. So we need to pray that they get a miracle with that. Those fires get put out before it causes massive damage. And anyways, hit the like and share, subscribe. Thank you, Kim. And let's get to a little more Trump.
President, if we were to work under the assumption that you're serious about making Canada 51st state of the United States, the leader of the Conservative Party in Canada said, under no circumstances will it ever be the 51st state.
Maybe he won't win, but maybe he will. I don't
point, you had suggested.
Listen, I don't care what he says.
But Sir, real fast, you said you were considering military force to acquire Panama and Greenland. Are you also considering military force to annex and acquire Canada?
No, economic.
Real quick, he didn't actually say he'd use economic force in Greenland, Panama. That's just a reporter being a dick. But anyways, continue.
Economic force, because Canada and the United States, that would really be something. You get rid of that artificially drawn line, and you take a look at what that looks like, and it would also be much better for national security. Don't forget, we basically protect Canada. But here's the problem with Canada. So many friends up there. I love the Canadian people. They're great. But we're spending hundreds of billions a year to protect it. We're spending hundreds of billions a year to take care of Canada. We lose in trade deficits. We're losing massive. We don't need their cars. You know, they make 20% of our cars. We don't need that. I'd rather make them in Detroit. We don't need the cars. We don't need their lumber. We have massive fields of lumber. We don't need their lumber. We have to unrestrict them because stupid people put, restrictions on, but I can do that with an executive order. We don't need anything they have. We don't need their dairy products. We have more than they have.
This case he's building, and just listen as he continues, but just think about how strong a case this is. He started with, we're paying them all this money, $200 billion, basically we're subsidizing with them. And then he goes through list by list of everything we import from them, and we don't even need it. It's very interesting.
We don't need anything. So why are we losing $200 billion a year and more to protect Canada? And I said that to, as I called him, Governor Trudeau. I said, listen, what would happen if we didn't subsidize you, if we didn't, because we give them a lot of money. We help them. As an example, we're buying icebreakers, and Canada wants to join us in the buying of icebreakers. I said, we don't really want to have a partner in the buying of icebreakers. We don't need a partner. But no right. Nope. No right. Here's what we have. We have a right not to help them with their financial difficulties.
There it is. So that reporter being what reporters are, which is total pieces of trash nowadays, 90% of them. And Trump was like, no, I'm just telling you that they survived because of us. So listen what he says about if we stop subsidizing them, if they stop being the trophy wife that's living off of the sugar daddy.
Difficulties because we owe $36 trillion too. We're going to start knocking it out pretty fast, but we're going to be able to do it because of energy and other things. But no right. No right. But why are we supporting a country, $200 billion plus a year, Our military is at their disposal. All of these other things, they should be a state. That's why I told Trudeau when he came down, I said, what would happen if we didn't do it? He said Canada would dissolve. Canada wouldn't be able to function.
Real quick, if Trudeau actually said that, which I could believe it, because being in the presence of Trump and just one-on-one with him, being completely weakened before him with this election, everything, I could see Trudeau actually being honest like that. But no leader should ever say something like that. Anyways.
If we didn't take their 20% of our car market, they send us hundreds of thousands of cars. They make a lot of money with that. They send us a lot of other things that we don't need. We don't need their cars, and we don't need the other products. We don't need their milk. We got a lot of milk. We got a lot of everything, and we don't need any of it. So I said to him, well, why are we doing it? He said, I don't really know. He was unable to answer the question, but I can answer it. We're doing it because of habit, and we're doing it because we like our neighbors, and we've been good neighbors.
And let me add, we're doing it because since, gosh, at least the Clintons, maybe even before that, and it ramped up under Obama, we've been making deals with the world that we're going to be your sugar daddy. We're going to subsidize you. And that's part of what the whole WEF, globalists, how it all survives, is because they've been taking from us, and our leaders were allowing it to happen. They've been stealing from us. We've been subsidizing them. And now the golden goose, Trump is the one who's saying no more. No more. And they're losing their golden goose. And this is one of the reasons they're all freaking out. Europe, Canada, Australia, none of them can survive without us. China, they can't survive without us the way they've made their lives better on us while we've been going backwards. And that's what Trump's not saying here, but he really wants to say it. But that's the truth. He's being nice out of habit and because we like him, he says. But that's not the real truth. The real truth is they've been pillaging us for decades now, and the party's starting to end. Let's keep going.
But we can't do it forever, and it's a tremendous amount of money. And why should we have a $200 billion deficit and add on to that many, many other things that we give them in terms of subsidy? And I said, that's okay to have if you're a state. But if you're another country, we don't want to have it. We're not going to have it with European Union either. European Union, we have a trade deficit of $350 billion.
There it is. He brings up Europe, just like I said.
They don't take our cars. They don't take our farm product. They don't take anything. And so we're not going to have it with them either. Brian.
So there it is. I mean, just powerful statement from Trump. And this is when, after I heard him break it down, I was like, oh my God, this could be serious. And I mean, the odds of it happening are still extremely, extremely low. And now Trudeau's stepping down and they're going to get Pierre in there. And so this might all change very quickly. But what's not going to change is Trump is cutting them off. He's cutting them off like they're the college student who got on drugs and isn't doing their homework. It's like mom and dad have been paying for you to go to school, and yet you have lost your job. You're getting Fs. We're cutting you off. That's what's happening. It's happening with them. It's happening with the EU. But Canada, at least the EU, they'll figure stuff out. They'll go through a bad period, but they'll figure stuff out. Canada at this point, they're completely subsidized by us. They have nothing going for them right now. $200 billion for Trudeau to actually say we'd collapse. That's insanity. So we have that. We have what's going on in Greenland. I mean, Greenland, he's 100% serious. Panama Canal, he's 100% serious. I actually believe within the next 2 years, we'll have both of those. 2-3 years tops. Those will both be under America again. By the way things are going, today I was listening to Sean Spicer, who was in the first Trump administration. And in the first Trump administration, he said that by the end of the administration, they almost had a deal in place for Greenland. It was almost done in the first Trump administration. So you better believe it's going to happen now. And they have Donald Jr. there doing this photo op and meeting with all the people. They're having all the Greenlanders, which there's only 57,000 of them, having all the Greenlanders do videos about how they love MAGA. They'd love to be a part of the U.S. and get away from Denmark. It's fascinating. So to me, Greenland it's going to happen. I really don't see any way it's not. But this whole Canada thing, it's very interesting. Negotiation, but I'm telling you, I think it's really because Trudeau's leaving and Pierre's coming in, I don't think it'll happen. But I tell you what, if Canada messes around and becomes, goes back to major liberal leaders, leftist globalist leaders, I have a feeling Trump is going to push this much, much harder. So for the next few months, there's going to be a lot of talk. He's going to tariff them. He's going to close this $200 billion deficit. He's going to stop funding them, importing all their stuff. This will all get fixed, and it's going to really hurt Canada's economy. But Trump, because he's merciful, he's going to be like Commodus and Gladiator. Am I not merciful? He will, I think if he knows Pierre's getting in, he'll let up a little bit. So, because he doesn't want to hurt the people, but he's like, Canada, your days of robbing us dry are over. So, very interesting. But that was by far the most eloquent and detailed reasoning I've heard behind Trump's whole Canada thing, and it told me there's way more going on here than him just trolling Trudeau, which is very, very interesting to me. Where will we import our tunics from, says Rum Talk. I love that. Shogun, what about rename? Oh, I'm going to get to that. Don't worry. Butters at me says, Canada on strike. They'll take bubblegum and Bennigan's coupons. We set them adrift. Bennigan's. I love it. That's hilarious. So now it says, I think it's already done. Now we're getting the story, but time will tell. We'll find out. Update on the LA fire. The Getty Museum's on fire. Holy smokes. That's crazy. 30,000 people ordered to evacuate. So prayers to Southern California. We don't want, we don't want all that to burn down. That's tough times. We want people to be okay. So I pray for people's houses and their safety, because that's terrible. Big B says, sure, it'd be nice to live in an age where we aren't the worker bees anymore. Absolutely. We can't support the world economically. 100%. Yeah. Agent Orange says the art of trade, open, huge, and negotiate down to what's actually wanted. That's right. The big ask is what they call it. And Trump is a master of that. Charlie M says Texas has a GDP of 2.7 trillion, which would be the 8th biggest country if it was one. California, I believe, is 5th. Yeah, I believe it is. Oh, yeah, Butters. Oh, yeah, you're right. Canada on strike, South Park. Man, see, I should have known that. I'm mad I didn't. It's been a while since I watched South Park. It's one of my favorites. Canadian dollar called the loonie, backed by nothing, no gold or silver reserve. Kind of like us, right, Alan? All right, let me show you guys another clip here. We're going to go through a few of these clips with Trump because they were just so interesting today. But this is when that reporter said, you said we're going to use force for Greenland and the Panama Canal. This was Trump's real answer, not what that reporter said.
To Greenland and the Panama Canal, so forth. Can you assure the world that as you try to get control of these areas, you are not going to use military or economic coercion?
No.
And can you tell us a little bit about what your plan is? Are you going to negotiate a new treaty? Are you going to ask the Canadians to hold a vote? What is the strategy?
Yeah, I can't assure you. You're talking about Panama and Greenland. No, I can't assure you on either of those two. But I can say this. We need them for economic security. The Panama Canal was built for our military. I'm not going to commit to that now. It might be that
Greenland.
I love how Trump handles that. He's like, I'm not Why would I commit to that? That's stupid. He goes on to say, which I wish it's on a longer clip, which I apparently picked the wrong one. Sorry, guys. But he goes on to say that only a stupid person would answer that. The guy's like, well, it's a legitimate question. Trump's like, I won't answer that. Why would I talk about military strategy? And the guy's like, it's a legitimate question. He says, no, it's not legitimate because only a stupid person would answer it. So as only Trump can. Fantastic. But again, the Greenland has obviously the natural resources are a big reason why he wants Greenland, because it's this massive state of land with barely anybody. It's barely livable. Very few people live there. But also the security reasons. It's the big buffer in the Atlantic Ocean between us and Europe and Russia and all kinds of stuff, So in the Pacific, we don't have much, but there's a reason we have Hawaii. It's smaller islands, but Greenland, you got this massive landmass, and it makes no sense. We already have a base there. Denmark has no reason. Denmark's so tiny with their small GDP, they can barely use it. Denmark is Denmark wouldn't even be, I don't know, the 25th biggest state in America. It's tiny. And so there's just no reason why Denmark, this little country, has this huge thing when we're basically out there protecting the world. And that's one of Trump's points. And then Panama Canal, obviously majorly strategic. Jimmy Carter, God rest his soul, moronically gave it away for $1 to Panama when we built it, when our men, 38,000 Americans died building it. It's a strategic play for us. We should have it. And now the Chinese run it and charge us for it. So it just doesn't make any sense. It's insane. But so that's, as you could hear him though, he's like, I'm not committing to this. And then later that reporter says, well, you said that you'd use economic or military force to get Greenland and Panama. Would you do that with Canada? And Trump's like, what? So when you watch these press conferences, it's really, they're playing a game. Okay. It's the reporters trying to do the gotchas on a president. Now, Democrats always get by easy. They worship them. They barely ever give them a hard question, unless they're mad at them for something, but, or they're just trying to get the ratings up. But Republicans, they always grill and they try to do gotchas. They try to get them in corners. And Trump he's the best at this I've ever seen. And I've been watching this since Clinton, so I know it's not a lot, but Reagan was a master as well. I've seen his clips, but Trump just never falls for it. He never falls for their traps, and that's my favorite thing to watch in these press conferences, because he answers questions sometimes that he never usually would bring up the subjects, but then the back and forth is fantastic. All right, I'm getting calls for this, so here we go, guys. You've been waiting for this one. You deserve it.
To be changing the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America, which has a beautiful ring that covers a lot of territory. The Gulf of America, what a beautiful name. And it's appropriate. It's appropriate.
The Gulf of America. I love it so much. It's like, now Trump's just like, you know what? Just because I can, I'm going to do this. This is so funny. I mean, and you know this is going to happen. I mean, was Mexico going to do something about it? No. So and by the way, names get changed on this kind of stuff all the time. Think of all the military bases that are famous. Fort Bragg's no longer Fort Bragg. It's something else. They change stuff all the time. So it's not it's completely possible he pulls this off. I just think it's hilarious for him to even bring it up. But I'm telling you, these press conferences, stuff gets wild. It's hilarious. Winged Wolf, Armstrong's solution seems sensible. Give Canada, California, Oregon, Washington. We take BC and Alberta. Yeah, right. As much as politically it'd be nice to get rid of California, it would also be, you're getting rid of the 5th, 6th biggest economy in the world. it would be crippling to our economy, honestly, as a nation. We'd recover fairly quickly, but we'd never hit the highs we could. California is the breadbasket of the Central Valley. Gives us more produce than any other place in America as well. So like getting rid of California is not overall, it would not be as smart as it would feel to give it away. It just wouldn't do well. Denmark threatening to send 2 sled dog teams to secure Greenland. Summer property in Greenland, it'll be cheap, so you go there. Just Mike says Getty Museum rumored to be tied to human trafficking and Satanism. Really? I think I've heard that before, but it's been a while since I've been on that deep dive, so I didn't remember. All right, Drew, I'll look in a minute. Greenland residents tired of Denmark. Yep. Trump is the master of the weave. That is exactly right. Yeah, he's so good at it. Cannot wait till Weatherman refers to the Gulf of America. There'll be a couple that just are like MAGA types that might do it in smaller stations, and it'll be hilarious. Casting non-office yet, another investment, $20 billion added for, what are you talking about? For Greenland? Coming and slamming it. One thing he said that was really interesting too is that he brought up the debt. And he said, we're going to deal with it fast and with energy, as he said, one of the things he mentioned, which to me was really interesting because if we get Greenland, the natural gas alone in Greenland, I bet there's oil there too, but the energy resources out of Greenland would be a significant boon to our economy as well. And I wonder if that's part of his plan as well, because he said the 36 trillion, we're going to deal with that quick. I'm really interested to see how that goes. But I definitely believe Greenland has something with that. Butter says getting rid of the deficit that the rest of us have to cover for California would offset anything positive they offer. Not quite sure about that, Butters. I don't think the math adds up on that. Again, I think it's fun to talk about that with your emotion as a liberal state, but a very liberal state with a lot of electoral votes. But the truth is California's resources are insane. Drew, I didn't like when they asked Trump if he will continue to fund Ukraine. He didn't straight up tell them no. I was hoping he'd flat up tell them hell no. Yeah, I get you. The problem is that Trump doesn't give the script away. He never does, because he always wants to be able to come to the negotiating table and have all his cards. So Trump never gives the cards away. And so he's tweeted out stuff like that before. Don't fund Ukraine. It's ridiculous. He did talk about this a lot tonight or today in the press conference about Ukraine and getting it over with as soon as he gets in. So I'm not worried about that at all. So yeah, Rumble meeting. We got a lot of stuff. No, Greenland will not be a state, Shogun. It won't be a state. They're not going to give it statehood. It'll become a territory like Guam or Puerto Rico, or they're calling it a protectorate. So it'll be a territory with a specific purpose, which will be to for bases, and then also to get those resources. What's interesting is the base in Greenland is a Space Force base. They changed it. It was Air Force and now it's Space Force. So that makes you think as well. All right, let me keep going though, because there's more from this I want to share before we get into the economic news. Trump here he's just laying down the hammer.
Hell must be paid if they don't release the
You know what that
hostages.
means, don't you?
Well-
Do I have to define it for you? Look, all
No, I know
hell
you're not
will
gonna
break out.
telegraph
If
what-
those hostages aren't back, I don't want to hurt your negotiation. If they're not back by the time I get into office, all hell will break out in the Middle East.
Can you elaborate?
And it will not be good for Hamas, and it will not be good, frankly, for anyone. All hell will break out. I don't have to say anymore, but that's what it is. And they should have given them back a long time. They should have never taken them. There should have never been the attack of October 7th. People forget that.
All hell must be paid if they don't release the
I mean, that's huge. That's very reminiscent of the Reagan-Carter situation when the Iran had all the hostages with Reagan, and as soon as Reagan came in, they were all released. So this is just Trump flexing. He did this throughout the whole thing. It was beautiful. I mean, these and it's not going to be war. Trump's not going to get us into war, guys, but it'll be strikes, targeted strikes. Trump's not going to mess around. I mean, like when he took out Soleimani, or the story with the with the Taliban in Afghanistan, where he sat down and he's like, just pushed pictures across, and it was a picture of the guy's family in his home, and he was just like, listen, like, you guys don't lay off. This, like, you kill any more American soldiers, we'll take you guys out, and no American soldiers died after that. Trump knows how to negotiate tough with these people. So I really appreciate hearing this, because this is the way a president should talk. One that means business, and this is the only thing they respond to. But some people are like scared it'll lead us to war. No, it won't. It's going to lead to hostages being released and stuff actually getting done. Without California, where would we get Franzia? Yeah, Roger, we would control Northwest Passage. That's true. If we got Canada, that would be crazy. They're banning tankless water heaters. Do we think that so natural gas problems? Donkey, I wouldn't worry about that. As soon as Trump gets in, any regulations federally on water heaters and stuff, that's all going to be lifted very quickly. And because he's in and the people are going to be on his side and the people are going to be rejuvenated and energized, I think there'll be pushback in any state trying to ban all that stuff. We're going to be a major natural gas country again. All that stupid regulations is going bye-bye. I'm just not worried about that at all. Yeah, you're right. They don't want China to get Greenland as well, Bedcrumb. You're right. All it takes is 60% of the population to submit to Congress for statehood. But then it has to be approved by Congress, Alan. They have to be let in. And does a state have to be let in through a constitutional amendment? I think it might. I'm not 100% sure on that. But that only gets the ball rolling, Alan. That does not make them automatically a state. Calls them stupid for asking for the details. Exactly. Finest cardboard Bordeaux there is. I like that. I thought I had one more. I do. Hold on a second. Let me get this. There's one more thing I wanted to bring up, and then we're going into the we're going to start talking about some of this economic stuff coming out, because so we had another day where everything came out strong in the markets and then tanked. And I want to talk about why that's happening, and just some of the stuff to look out for. But first, Trump kind of touches on it first at the end here of his talk. So I wanted to bring that up. Here we go. He's talking right now about the mess they are leaving him as he comes in.
Foundation, and I bought it from the foundation.
President, on reconciliation, some Republicans saying in trade for a massive bill that you and they share the interest in, they want to see big spending cuts. Do you agree with that? And
Well, I'm okay with spending cuts. I like spending cuts. Just, I'm on the record for spending cuts. And the debt ceiling was given to us. It shouldn't have been, but it was put in our lap. And what I want in terms of debt ceiling isn't the ceiling. I just don't want to see a default. That's all I want. I never talked about spending more money necessarily than all I want to see is no default, because nobody knows what would happen if there was a default. It could be 1929 and it could be nothing. But that was put into our lap, and it shouldn't have been, but it was, and so we'll handle it. But debt ceiling is not about raising a lot of money. It's really just about extending it. I just want to see an extension.
So I found that really interesting, the way he said that, because he brings up the debt ceiling, why he wants it, which is good. I think a lot of people need to hear that, because there's all this worry about Trump being a crazy spender, which, guys, listen, he did spend, but he didn't have a Congress really on his side. And he also, a lot of that spending was because of COVID, which they, obviously set him up for. So, but what's interesting is he mentions avoiding default. And he says, I don't know what'll happen. Would it be 1929? I found it fascinating that he threw that in there. And I kind of think everything is teetering right now. It's on the edge of breaking out. And they've just they've set up all these pitfalls for him, and he's going to have to weave all of it. But Congress, this is something that Congress has to do as well. So he's going to be applying the pressure, but that's a warning. He's putting a warning out there, and that's to the Democrats as well about the debt ceiling. And he's saying, you guys want to do this fight? You guys want to mess around? Because bad things are coming. And the only way I can navigate this is you guys lift that debt ceiling. And he wants it lifted for 2 or 3 years. He wants the same deal that Biden got, where it's not an amount that went up. It's just the debt ceiling's gone. So he can navigate all this, which it makes perfect sense. Now, for me, I personally, I don't know how we get through this and reset without allowing ourselves to hit that crash, that pain. But I also believe that I trust Trump, and I believe that if he has more options, he can navigate it a lot better. So obviously I want it lifted, but if it doesn't and we go into default, which has never happened before in American history, but if that does happen, that's a major warning there from Trump. And as we're about to see, it makes a lot of sense. Wick Sounds with the $2 donation says, I'm a Canadian. I support U.S. leadership. Awesome, eh? Thank you for that donation, Wick Sounds. I appreciate it very much. And welcome to our very American chat. But we have lots of Canadians in here. They're very good people as well. New skit on SNL, Hans and Franzia. Winged Wolf, it's not a debt ceiling, it's more like a debt target. There's some truth to that. A1A, it's happening because the spy is playing out a head and shoulders pattern. Yes. Roger, Trump doesn't want a debt that limits what he can do. Exactly. So now if we have a massive financial impact, it'll be easier to start fresh with a gold-backed currency and get rid of that tax. 100%. Absolutely. Alan, I don't believe the USA has ever defaulted on our debt. I'm pretty sure about that. But maybe I'm wrong. Has the U.S. ever defaulted? Yeah, so this is what I'm getting up. Okay. We've never defaulted. So yeah, I don't know. We've had I think we've had our credit rating downgraded before, but I don't think we've ever defaulted. Yeah. Unless, and that's Google, it could be wrong. So just saying. Canada will finally be more than just America's hat. You're a Canuck, and also no cap, want to be a Marinadian. Marinadian. I like that. Okay, let's go through some of this economic stuff. I'm sharing this from Robert Kiyosaki, who has made a lot of predictions lately that haven't happened in the last couple of years. So I am putting that out there. I don't think he's a prophet by any means, but I also think he's very smart. And Rich Dad Poor Dad and his writings, his financial writings, are some of the best stuff out there. I defy anybody to prove him wrong on his actual advice for investing and business growth. But and he's also, he's a billionaire. He's connected to Trump. He's friends with Trump. He has a lot of connections, sees what's going on. I think what he's been doing is calling out what he sees, and his predictions have just been off because timing's always off. Well, he just posted this, and I wanted to just read it as something to consider and something to, when a smart man who really understands our economy says something like this, it's worth looking at. It doesn't mean it's happening, but it's still worth paying attention to. Robert Kiyosaki writes, I warned y'all. 2013 published Rich Dad's Prophecy. Prophecy predicted the biggest stock market crash in history was coming. That crash is now. He believes it's already started, which I think he has. There's no way to know. okay, we could rebound. David Hunter, on another very smart guy, says he thinks we're going to have a melt up before the crash, even though they both agree it crashes here. But we have not been able to, this stock market has been reeling since December. It just has not been able to regain its footings. So he says it crashes now. How did I know a giant crash was coming? I knew because in '08, our leaders, Ben Bernanke, paid himself, bankers billions in bonuses, while millions of moms and pops lost their homes, jobs, and savings. 2025, car market, housing market, restaurants, retailers, and even wine sales are crashing, which is true. We're all on the verge of war, and that's one thing I disagree with him on. I don't think we're going to get into war. Many expensive assets such as houses, gold, silver, and Bitcoin will go on sale, and I absolutely believe that's coming. Time to be cool and smart while millions are panicking, which is why I go over our economic news all the time here, guys. So, because I'm hoping we all do this, and everybody paying attention does that. And I think most people who watch this channel will be ready because we've been preparing for this. Crashes are great times to get rich, get smart, and get ahead in life. And that, my friends, is the message of this crash. I mean, the wrong people will get hurt in this. The people who've cheated. And I don't think we're going to see those bailouts we saw in '08. I don't think we're going to see the CEOs getting those massive bonuses again. I think this time with Trump in charge, people are going to pay. And the right people are going to be hurt. Unfortunately, there's a lot of good people who just don't pay attention. They don't make good investments. They do the status quo. They're going to be hurt too. But since they're already low on the totem pole, hopefully they won't lose as much. And then in the rebound, when we have a better, stronger economy, it's better for the working man, woman, and a more stable dollar, maybe hopefully attached to something with real value. Maybe we could turn this around and actually all build wealth. But those of us ready, we might see some really good opportunities here. Thomas Dubois says Trump met with CEO Brad Garlinghouse the other day. XRP holders patient. Yeah. 83 mile per hour gusts at Burbank Airport. Wow. God help LA right now. TSX crashes after Trump's tariffs. I don't think the tariffs will crash stuff. I just don't. But I know a lot of people feel that way. You hold U.S. stocks. Winged Wolf. One could argue by revalued gold from 20 to 35 was a default back in 1935. Okay, well, so there's an argument. But revaluing default, potato. But officially, we've never defaulted. So we say that. Part of the stock market is psychological confidence. Is exactly right. In fact, I would argue almost all of it is. So Potter isn't selling, Potter's buying. I just watched that. Yeah, that's crazy. So the fire is advancing 300 yards per minute. My God. Oh, those poor people. Okay, so this is not good. 10-year Treasury auction was awarded a 4.68% yield, highest since '07. Holy smokes. That, my friends, is a big draw on an auction for yields. Highest since '07, right before the crash. That's crazy. So even though the bonds have been up lately, even when they've been doing the auctions, they've been able to still sell them a little bit lower. This is a huge warning sign. Huge warning sign. So buckle up, people. I don't know. Timing's impossible. I don't know when stuff's going down. Few weeks, few months, end of the year. I don't know, but it just seems like more and more this year, because Trump is in and they're pulling the rug out. It feels like this is where we're going to finally face something. And the only thing I'm not pretty confident about is how bad it will be. So recessions are unavoidable because they're engineered by the wealthy elite. Trump knows this. I love this post. It makes so much sense to me. He's going to cause chaos right away so he can blame Biden, ending the 2H of his term with a booming economy. I guess he's saying the second half. Ending the second half of his term with a booming economy again. Today was a small taste, picking fights with Canada, Mexico, and Panama. And I mean, I think he's absolutely right about this. Is this engineered? 100% it is. They know what they're doing. They knew they were propping up the economy falsely. They knew they kicked the can down the road in 08, 09. They knew all of it. So then they let it get worse and worse and worse, and they prop up and prop up and prop up until one of two things happens. Either they can't prop it up anymore, or they finally pull the rug out and just let it happen. And in the past, they let it happen under the watch of like Obama, who bailed them all out, made them all richer, stole more from us. COVID, they wanted to do that, but Trump mostly didn't let them until they got Biden in, and then Biden started running on all that. Thank God that it was not as bad as it could have been. And then I think this time they were really hoping and really believing they were going to get Kamala in there. And so the crash could have happened on her watch. And God saved us from that one. Because if she had gone through that, if she was allowed to oversee an economic crash, it would have been used to really ruin us, probably forever. We probably would never be America again, economically. Ficus, Hunter's been predicting a melt up for some time. You'd argue he's already correct, and Trump up in November was it. Main point is a limited upside with lots of downside. Yeah, Ficus, Hunter's, David Hunter you're talking about, his most recent interviews, he's saying he believes we have one last leg of a melt up that will last 2 or 3 months, get us into late spring, early summer, and then we're going to face he says it's going to be the biggest crash of our lives. So, and that's the most bullish case I've heard for this market. Everybody else that I trust seems to think it's happening sooner. So we'll see. We should just watch whatever Jim Cramer says and just do the opposite. A1A, if we can get DJT to break 40 and hold, has an inverse head and shoulders showing a measured move of 120. That sounds like what BAM Investor was seeing too. So I believe DJT, crazy upside. Alan says, keys are get out of debt, buy what you need, not what you want, own food seeds, learn to get neighborhood gathering for support. Exactly. Community will be the number one way to get through anything that's tough. Community and smart decisions. Absolutely. Debt. It depends on the debt. A lot of debt, you can just say, screw you guys, I can't pay. And they can't do a damn thing about it except hurt your credit report, which in a downturn, who cares? You can turn that around really fast when things get better. I know that because I've lived it. In the last recession, in 08, 09, the last crash, I had a bunch of school debt. Thankfully, it wasn't federal, because federal, you don't have a choice. And I had a lot of credit card debt. And I got hit with all of it. And I just kept telling them, I can't pay you. And all they did was attack my credit. Nothing else changed in my life. Obviously, I couldn't buy a car or a house. I didn't need to. And I got through it. And after a few years, got back up on my feet, paid down some of that debt, got my credit back up. So it depends on what the debt is to get out, to survive a financial crisis. Most of it in America, you don't have to pay right away. And then they'll offer you settlements too for much less. So it just depends on what the debt is. Ficus, it constantly added more and more government jobs. Yep. Oh yeah. This, so we get jobs report today. I bet you it's going to be the last semi-decent jobs report we see for a while. It'll be the last one propped up by them. They might even let it go this time. But starting in February, we're going to have our people in reading the data, and there won't be any more propping up the economy anymore. We're going to get the real numbers. So, yeah, I know GameStop had a big move. You seeing a big down on Finger? We'll see. How can people not see DJ stock will likely be the GOAT? I don't know. I mean, I can't say it'll likely be the GOAT, greatest squeeze of all time or anything, but I definitely think it's got massive strength with who's behind it, and the fact that it's got Trump obviously owning most shares. Then Pam Bondi, who's going to be Attorney General, and Kash Patel. I mean, all on their board and owning tons of. Yeah, it's going to be huge. Toe cramp. Don't default on Discover card. They'll crucify you in court. Take the shirt off your back. Okay, well, there you go. Don't default on Discover then. Roger, you'll pass your 64th birthday in several weeks. Fingers your last resort. Hearing Pam Bondi's hearing's been postponed to the end of February. Was it? I didn't know that. That's interesting. Well, it doesn't mean stuff won't change, Roger. Things could start moving on the on enforcement even before that. Pam Bondi's not the only thing that's going to move that. Oh, long term, yeah, Ever Trumper. I could see it. I could see really good stuff coming from it. Okay, NASDAQ. This is interesting. Today, NASDAQ posted its single largest daily volume in history with 13.5 billion shares traded today. It beat the previous record of 11.9 billion from last year. Guys, that is wild. 1.5 billion shares over the previous record. What the hell was going on in NASDAQ? Now, NASDAQ got crushed today. What did it finish down? 300 points? Got crushed today. So a lot of that was selling. To me, it seems like there might be some flight to safety going on. Because why else would they be trading so much today? That is absolutely wild. We're 7 days into January. This is the third trading day of January, and we're already seeing a record set. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense unless they're just trying to get away. Jim, when high interest money markets drop rates, more people will buy high dividend stocks. That's true. Yeah. Alan, look at 2930. Banks took homes, farms. Yeah, but you're right. And that's what I mean by the debt, the difference in debt. Okay. Yes. You don't want to be behind on your mortgage. You don't want to be behind on your farm, anything like that. That's the kind of stuff you just can't. That's the debt you have to be caught up on to survive. I agree with you. I was talking more of just liquidity kind of debt for spending stuff. Stella, going to get about 4K of XRP tomorrow. Nice. XRP is going to be huge. You're going to be applying for a job as a Walmart greeter? Oh, Roger. I'm praying that won't happen for you. Big NVIDIA sell-off, go up again. I know, but that's not the only thing that moves the NASDAQ. There's something else going on. Because I don't even think NVIDIA's not even on the NASDAQ, right? It's on the S&P. Anyways. Unusual Whales today posted his full report on congressional trading in 2024. Like every year since 2020, some U.S. politicians beat the market. Many had unusual trades and huge portfolio gains. Here's the top political traders of 2024. I figured this deserved a public reading to just get it out there. David Rooser, Republican. I don't even know who that is, but he's obviously a crook. 149%. Now, I will say this. Since they're allowed to trade, it's always possible that if you just had one good year, it was luck. And so I'm not calling somebody a crook just because they had one good year. I've seen these lists for a couple years. I don't remember David Rooser. I don't remember Debbie Schultz. Maybe they just caught lightning in a bottle. Probably not. They're probably crooked, but it's possible. It's possible. Ron Wyden, total crook. Roger Williams, I don't know that name. I don't know every name in the House of Representatives. But a lot of Republicans on the top. Pete Sessions, he's supposed to be on our side. Remember MMTLP? 100% gain, basically, 95%. Susan Collins. There's Pelosi. Everybody talks about Pelosi. She's low on the list here. But the thing is, Pelosi does it year after year after year, and so does Crenshaw. There's Dan Crenshaw right here. Any other names I recognize? Let's see here. Byron Donalds. And see, I think Byron Donalds is a good dude. But, maybe he had a good year. Or maybe he heard a couple things. Doesn't mean he's crooked. But it could mean he's, skimming a little here and there on his stocks. Who knows? Who knows? Mitch McConnell. Marjorie Taylor Greene. So Ro Khanna, Mark Green, Tommy Tuberville, he's been in this list a lot. He's at the bottom here. But, 5% is kind of nothing. That's kind of a normal year. I'd say 5 to 20% is a normal year. And then you catch lightning in a bottle, you can have one of these big years. Like, if you catch a short squeeze or something. But if you see it year after year after year, big trouble. But anyways, always a great list. I love that Unusual Whales does this. It's just putting more and more out there that this has got to be cleaned up, because these people should not be able to enrich themselves when the rest of us are struggling. It's evil. It really is. The SEC allowed $10 billion to go uncollected. I know. They don't even collect their minuscule fines. Have we ever discussed Gassar and Nassar in here? I've discussed it a little bit. I will tell you, I'm very skeptical of that. Very optimistic about the future. Very optimistic. You guys know I'm optimistic about the future. Very optimistic. You guys know I constantly say I believe a golden age is coming to America. But I'm pessimistic, or I should say I am skeptical of what some people think that golden era is. I'm very skeptical of a mass forgiveness of debt once and for all. I'm just skeptical of that. I'm very skeptical of the reporting that it was already signed by Clinton and just has to go into effect. That doesn't sound real to me. And I've seen the paperwork, I've seen the reporting on it. There's interesting stuff there, but there is such things like people want to believe that people want to believe in a world savior that can lead us to utopia where there's no longer any suffering at all. And that's just not life. I do believe the world will continue to get better. I do believe that suffering can be lightened and we all can live better, more prosperous lives, and our kids can have better lives than us, especially when we get wins like Trump coming in. And that's the trend of history. And I do believe all that. But the idea that basically everything that's been hard will just be taken away so that we get everything easy all of a sudden, or a complete fresh start in every single aspect all of a sudden, that's not the trend of history. I'm not saying it's never happened. There used to be in ancient Israel, there was a Jubilee year, which, by the way, they never celebrated. It's one of the reasons God sent them to Babylon for 70 years to make up for all the Jubilee years they didn't do. Why? Because the people didn't want to give up debt. The debtors didn't want to set people free. But it was supposed to happen on the 50th year. Every 50 years, people were supposed to be relieved of all their debt and reset. And so I wish we had a system like that. I think it's brilliant. But I just have trouble believing that. I also have trouble believing in these med beds that we're just going to have beds that come out where you just lay in them and you can be healed of everything. I just don't. I do think there might be cures that have been withheld from us. I do think we can be a much healthier society. I believe, I believe in a lot of that. But I don't believe in these magical beds that just can fix everything. There's a line I get to where I'm like, I either don't have the imagination for it, or maybe, let's just say I'd love to be proven wrong on those things. I really would. But for now, I believe that in a couple years, we're going to be a much healthier nation. We're going to be a much more prosperous nation. We're going to be we're going to see the best times America's ever seen. And we don't need a Nassar Gassara for that. We don't need med beds for that. We can be progressing towards things like that down the road, but that'll happen more progressively, not just all at once. But the idea that once Trump's in, a couple things are cleaned up, that he's going to one day step up to the podium while everybody's watching and say, I'm here to tell you you're all free of your debt now. And I'm here to tell you everything has just been fixed. And we have $1 trillion coin and it's paying off our debt and we're doing all this. There's a lot of things I just can't I can't believe. I just that's a little too good to be true. That sounds a little fairy tale-ish to me. But if it happens, then I'm all for it, and I would love again to be wrong. So that's really that's where I stand on all that. So Trump wants to make MAGA North America great again. Since they both deserve after what they've gone through. I mean, there is a lot that's gone through a lot of stuff, yeah. But the problem is Mexico and Canada, the people just haven't woken up in the same rate. But I think Trump making America great again is going to help Mexico and North Canada just as a result. I really do. Especially because I think they're going to go after the cartels hard in Mexico and maybe finally break the cartel stranglehold over those poor Mexican citizens. So savior in the non-spiritual. That's right. Yeah. Donkey says, right. That's mostly, I'm curious. This is that year, is it? Thinking according to Gregorian calendar, I think it's Shemitah year, which is a Jubilee year. Yeah, I don't know. The last Shemitah, there was a big thing about it in 2015. And I know because, what's his face wrote a book about it. And, anyways, we didn't see it then, so. Clean elections, the only path to brighter. Oh, thank you. That was the other clip I wanted to show you guys, and I lost it. Let me see if I can find it real quick, because this is something that I believe that two of the things Trump is going to do that I think will fix our country. Even if he can't fix everything else, if he does these two things, I think it'll set us up to be okay going forward. It'll be slower if it's all he can do, but I don't think it's going to be all he can do. But the two most important things are closing off our border, cleaning up all that mess, deportations, all that, basically getting our culture back and safe and protected again, and then fixing elections. And he mentioned that again right here.
A horrible place. One of the things we're going to do is we've got to fix the election so that we get honest counts and they get done by 10 o'clock in the evening or something thereabouts. They have places where they're still counting votes.
So I believe this is one of his main priorities, and that'll just definitely change everything. So definitely huge about it. Okay, and then finally, last thing on the economy right now, markets are sounding alarm over deflationary spiral in China. And China, guys, is in a bad place right now. And this could be what triggers everything else. Markets sound alarm over deflationary spiral in China. Investors increasingly concerned China risks sliding into an economic malaise that could last decades. The fake economic boom in China is over. It's over. And the question is just how hard is it going to crash? So, yeah, is that going to be our black swan event? I don't know. But these kind of headlines are the kind of headlines they use to seed things to prepare you. And it's basically to send out as signals, hey, get ready. So we'll see, guys. Trump's going to get in. It is not going to be easy. We got 12 days. He's going to get in. It's going to be glorious. It's going to be so nice to know we have somebody we can trust up there, real people working for us, all of that. But they're not going to make it easy for him. His first year to 2 years is going to be hell. It's going to be fighting and fixing at every corner. And then I think things will start turning around, and it's going to be great. I think it really will start turning around with the celebration. And, next year, 2026, is 250 years of America. It's going to be a year of celebration. And now if we're in a dark economic time going into that, that's going to be tough. But that's the kind of stuff, that's the kind of exuberance, that's where Americans can find that spirit, where we can turn things around fast. And I don't think, we talk about timing. I talk about timing a lot on this. Just like yesterday, Trump was certified and Trudeau resigned. That's timing. That's divine timing, in my opinion. Think of the amazing divine timing that Trump is now president. He will be president on the 250th year of our nation. That's a huge marker, huge. And he'll be president during it. You just can't make this stuff up. If he'd won in 2020, he wouldn't be president during it. So I just see how God's working in all of this. And I just think it's like things are just going to be so amazing as we move forward. I'm very excited, but there's got to be a lot of work, and we can't get complacent. We can't get cocky, but we can be confident, and we can be celebratory along the way as we keep working. And that's the thing. Everett Trump, on another subject, says Trump proves Biden stole 2020 Obama's Kenyan, wipes out virtually all the negatives they did over 12 years. Diamonds return with interest. Possibly. But yeah, I don't know how that would work out legally. So we can hope. We can hope. But maybe it just allows him to get more done with this Congress. Who knows? I don't know how that would, how they deal with that. But it's possible. It is possible. So anyways, Finger does do business in China, but listen, when an economic recession, depression, whatever they're going to go through, it doesn't kill stuff like cell phone use. Okay. Especially not when it's just because China's going through a hard time doesn't mean there's not going to be economic activity over there. And from what I gather, based on what Finger's is involved with, it'll be affected, but I don't think it's anything that will crush it. I just don't, but who knows? We'll find out. Donkey says, did I see the video of Trudeau being escorted by U.S. Marshals and only one Canuck security guy? No, I didn't. That's interesting. Drew said he sent me something, so let me look at this. Oh, man, here we go. So here is footage of the Getty burning down. It says Getty Villa, officially one of 34 satanic structures across the world, caught fire, burning down. So, guys, if you guys don't think God's working, not saying that he wants this fire to wipe out houses and stuff, especially of good people, not saying that at all. But sometimes disaster happens. It has nothing to do with God. It's all people, but God can still use it. And I mean, this happening 12 days before Trump goes down, or comes into office, that's wild. I mean, that is wild. Let's see if there's any more recent, if it actually got to. It is trending right now, so let's see. I think that's the only video right now. So it's on the Hill. It doesn't look like it's officially gone into. Here it says fire reaches Getty Village Museum grounds in California. Wild, just crazy. So pray for the good people that they anything they do lose, that it's not life, that especially children aren't harmed. Pray that anybody who does lose their home or anything has good insurance, and we just hope that this works out. Yeah, they don't need the blue roofs in California. I don't think this happens from lasers. California you can set a fire in California that'll blaze crazy easy. It's so stinking dry there. It is. Everett Chumber says 7 trading days left for Sharts to get out before inauguration. Wonder if they even wanted to. They may be trapped. Very true. Yeah. How do you send me a video clip? It depends, Donkey. The best way to do it is post it on X and tag me, or send it DM it to me on X, or you can post on X and DM me your post. Alan says, the way I understand what China is, the population of China is not investing in their stock market housing. They're not investing. Well, they did invest. The people of China were involved in one of the greatest Ponzi schemes of all time, perpetrated by their own government, where they pushed and pushed and pushed real estate all over the place. And all these poor people put their money into all this real estate that they just kept pushing them to buy into. And they created just thousands upon thousands and maybe even millions of houses and apartments that nobody was ever going to live in. And they just kept building just to prop up their economy. And then now that that started crashing a year and a half ago. And since that all started happening, most of the people of China who did invest have lost most everything they put in. So just evil stuff. China is, once we get ourselves fixed, I don't want war or anything, but I just, I'll start focusing more on praying for China, because I just want to see all people in every nation have a chance to live free. It's an atrocity what goes on in China. So anyways, guys, I'm going to call it a night. It's late. Tomorrow will be a Members Live. Members Live's now on Wednesday nights. If you want to be a member, it's $3 a month. That's all I ask for to support the channel. You'll get all access to the Members Lives plus access to the Discord group. So please like, subscribe before you leave tonight. And if you want to join the Members Lives on Wednesday nights going forward, it's just that $3. If you're on an Apple device, Apple hates Google, so they don't give you the join button. So if you're on Apple, you got to go to your browser. You can do it on your Safari browser, on your phone or iPad. Go there, go to settings, say desktop mode, then go to YouTube in desktop mode, go to my channel, and then you can finally join that way. It's a pain in the butt, and I hate Apple, but that's how you do it. So anyways, so for members, I'll see you all tomorrow. Everyone else, I will see you guys Thursday. Plenty going on. So let's pray before we get out of here, because the world needs a lot of prayer right now. So yeah, Evergrande was a start. You're right, A1A. They're eating the dogs and cats. Heavenly Father, thank you for today. God, thank you that Trump's back, and just it was so nice to see a real leader in charge again today in that press conference, and knowing he's coming in soon. Pray for his safety and the safety of his team. And God, with all that's going on, I just pray that every plan of all the enemy that hates America, the globalists, the politicians, whoever it is, all of them, that their plans fail. And God, that you just protect our nation through whatever we got to go through, whether it's economic tough times or whatever, that you just preserve the people, the good people, as much as possible through it, and bring justice through it. And on the way out, just God, we're praying in that golden age. We're believing for it, that it'll be the best time of our lives, and better country for our kids and grandkids. Bless everybody here with wisdom to navigate whatever we're going through. And anybody who needs healing, we pray for them. You healed Thomas. We thank you so much for that. That's such a miracle. And so we just pray for whoever else needs it in our chat, in this community. And so bless everybody here in Jesus' name. Amen. All right. Love you guys. Have a great night. I will see you all tomorrow. Well, you members tomorrow. I'll see everybody else Thursday. Take care. Good night.